Welcome back into Herman Brothers Field. It's a 1-0 game in favor of the Chinooks, starting off in the top of the fourth inning. And we've got a very special guest up in here. If you're a Matsu Miners fan for a long time, you might remember the voice of Mike Janela. So I'm Jesse Cook with Austin Barach, and also Mets fans will recognize you, Mike. Yeah. How does it feel to be back in Palmer?
It's weird, man. I tell you, you say you might recognize my voice, but maybe not. 18 years ago, the voice has changed a lot over time, but it's crazy. Yeah, I was here summer 2005, and it's my first time back here since then. It's a ton of memories, man.
Well, Drew Christo, he's got Braden Broom, righty-righty matchup. First pitch on the way. High and inside and missed for a ball. Broom reached on a hit by pitch last time. And so you said, your voice has changed. A lot has changed. Have you noticed anything different about Palmer?
A lot, especially here at the field.
1-0 pitch, misses low and away.
So much. The batting cages were outdoors when I was here.
Wow.
That garage on the third base line wasn't here. The beer stand was in the concession stand, so you had kids a little too close maybe to the alcohol.
Oh, no.
So there's a lot of renovations here, but all for the best.
Broom takes an inside pitch and clobbers it into shallow left. Haley chasing in with Barreras down on the line. He makes the scoop and grab. The sled dog goes head first for it, and there's 1 up, 1 down in the top of the fourth. That brings up the 9-hitter in Michael Kelly. So
I'll tell you one thing that hasn't changed, though, is this broadcast booth. Same
really?
size. I mean,
Yep.
you guys get to know your partner real well, I'm sure you know. Right on top of home plate here. I mean, this was my first ever broadcasting gig, basically, outside of school. So you learn just as much as these guys out in the field do. At least that was my experience. I'm sure you guys still feel the same way.
Yes. From an unbiased perspective, I'd say this is the best broadcast setup in the league.
It's incredible.
First pitch to Michael Kelly. The lefty watches one high and away for a ball. I think a lot of these players can appreciate that being her first experience with summer baseball. Some of these guys are freshmen. Maddox Haley, the left fielder, he's a freshman at San Diego State. That pitch down the middle for a strike. So what was your mindset coming into the Matsu Valley?
So, I don't do play-by-play anymore, but at the time, that was my dream, was to get to the big leagues and do play-by-play, as that one's lifted off to the left. Thank you, guys.
There we
There
go.
you go.
And out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. No, but that was it, right? It was, yeah, here we go. These guys are moving quick, so I don't want to step on your toes too much.
Well, Christo fires the 1-2. That's in the dirt. His toes ended up a little askew off the mound. Not a big fan of that pitch. He shook his head afterwards, but obviously you're a big fan of Palmer.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it, and it was between my sophomore and junior years of college, and it was the first time I was the first ever broadcast team here.
Yeah.
Me and Jamison Coyle, now of NHL Network.
Oh, yeah.
So, Pete was, I think, a Jersey guy or a New York guy, and we hit it off right away coming up here. And we were figuring it out. It was a lot of trial by fire, but I was pumped. You're 18, 19 at the time. You get to live in Alaska for a summer, watch baseball, and call it. It really was, living the dream. It was a great way to start my career.
2-2 pitch, swung on and lifted foul off to the left side. And, Pete Christopher, the GM, he's a big Mets fan.
Yep.
You're doing work with MSG and, of course, the New York Mets. Have you guys gone to that subject yet?
We've chatted about it, yeah. And Pete's always been great. He reaches out to me every once in a while. Still sends my parents a Christmas card all these years later.
That's nice.
But, yeah, it's always good talking about that.
2-2 pitch again, fouled off to the left. And
it's been great. I talked to the guys. That I threw out the first pitch today, which was very flattering and weird. But talking to some of the players, and it's like, hey, man, it's a very different way to do it, but I made it to the big leagues too. So hopefully that's an inspiration for them.
2-2 in the dirt. Absolutely. I mean, people, I think, Austin, you and I think one young fan didn't really know who we were and asked for our autograph. But I guess gave us hope.
Our first parade that we did here before the season started, and kids were coming up to us asking for our autographs, Jamie and me, and we're like, this is going to depreciate the value of the ball. But it makes you feel cool. It's your first taste of doing this for real.
3-2, swung on and hit up the middle. That's a base hit. Michael Kelly aboard for his second time today after walking in the first, and that brings up the top of the order in Austin Young.
But, I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as we did. Not just the baseball part of it, but just being here in Palmer, having access to this beautiful part of the world. And you never know when you're going to come back here. I thought my summer here was the only time I'd be here. Now here I am back, but you just remember it and driving around, and I'm sure you guys are into your daily routine and everything. But you get to, connect with these guys, and you're going to see some of these guys make the big leagues. And it's going to be cool to say, hey, we knew them back when.
First pitch to Young, high and in for a strike on the fastball. And we were sort of taken aback by the mountains the first time we came in. What was it like going home after that experience with those above the horizon every day?
It's kind of disappointing, right? When I love Central Jersey, raised there my whole life, but
that pitch hit to the backstop.
But the Jersey Turnpike doesn't really compare to anything like here with the views. And one thing I will say, I don't know what you guys have been up to, but definitely try and take advantage of what you can. Go hike your glaciers, go down and fish in Kenai and head up to Denali, because I'm doing a lot of stuff now. I'm back here on my honeymoon is why I'm here. And we're doing so much fun stuff that I never got to do back then because I was so busy, cramming for the games, which you want to be prepared, but you want to enjoy yourself.
0-2 pitch missed up high and in. Lancia tried to nab him at first, but no action there. A 1-2 count, one away, runner on first. 1-0 Chinooks, top of the fourth inning.
No, but it is incredible. And after this, the next year I did a summer in the Cape Cod League, and then I did a couple years in the minors, but there's no place that compares to this in terms of a backdrop for a game. It's incredible.
1-2, swung on and popped over the backstop. Count remains 1-2. So take us through your career beyond that. You went to the Cape, then you went to the minors. You somehow ended up on Jeopardy!
Yeah, that was a recent outing. That was last year. Yeah, I was kind of following the track of these guys, right? A lot of the guys that were here I actually saw the next year on the Cape in that league. And then again, similar thing. Pick off attempt there. He's back safely.
Slide.
You're back.
Yeah, I know. And then, did the Cape, and then did a year of independent league ball, and then did some minor league ball and some college ball. But then I got out of play-by-play, which was something that other career opportunities came up, and took some side journeys away from sports. There's one in the dirt, off-speed pitch, ended up outside. The count now even at 2-2. And then, I went to work for Guinness World Records. I went to work for a bunch of different digital media companies, and then ended up now with the New York Mets, where I do a whole bunch of different stuff for them.
Swung on and roped down the first base line. That's foul.
So, it's my 5th season there now, and if you go to a Mets game, you'll see me on the big screen there. I'm the in-game host. We do a pregame show, between-inning stuff, all kinds of those things, and then they're social media host as well. So we do post-game shows on Twitter. We do a lot of YouTube interviews with former players, events that happen for season ticket holders, kind of try and do as much FaceTime with them as I can.
So you're getting FaceTime at Citi Field. You also have done work with MSG. Is there anything else that's cooking up for you in the near future? By the way, we never said, but congratulations on your wedding.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's fantastic for you.
Appreciate it. And just so we don't miss any action, that was a swing and a miss, so we got 2 outs now.
Yes.
Strike out there. So I'm on MSG too in the winter times, covering some sports betting stuff for them with the Knicks and their hockey teams there. We'll see. I mean, as you guys know, I'm sure.
That pitch swung on up the middle, right past Nolan Tucker at second and through to center field. Station to station goes Michael Kelly, and Ryan Leonacia is aboard with a base hit. Runners on first and second, 2 away. Still 1-0 Chinooks, top of the fourth. Jesse Cook, Austin Barach with Mike Janela.
Yeah, good reset. That's solid points there. No, it's like I'm sure you guys know, you're always looking for the next opportunity and for the bigger thing, and who knows what's next, but it's always that thing of what's next, and you like where you are, but what else can you do? What else can you do on top of what you're doing now? So I think in this business, whether you're on the field or up here in the booth, ambition and drive are really important, and just got to see what's happening. But for now, got married, buying a house soon.
Wow.
Just enjoying what I have right now before we think about what's cooking next.
First pitch to Callahan, misses low. He's 1 for 1 after that sacrifice bunt in the first and a single, having scored that only run in the third. Now, buying a house, being married 18 years ago, how far off did all that feel?
Like a whole different world. Feels like a different person that I was back then. That one misses low and away. Yeah, because when you're here, as I'm sure you guys probably feel, you're just focused on this, right? What am I eating for lunch tomorrow?
Yeah.
Who's the next day's starting pitcher? What kind of research do I have to do? And you guys are very lucky to have access to so much more stuff and so much quicker than we did back then, technology and information-wise. But, yeah, I wasn't thinking about this kind of stuff back then at all.
Yeah, so that pitch, called a strike high and away. What did the minors broadcast look like 18 years ago? Because we do it on YouTube, and that's a little...
Yeah,
only a little thing
YouTube
then.
didn't exist yet when I was here. I think a strike on the outside corner. It didn't look like a strike to me, but I can be biased. You guys can't. You're the broadcasters, right? No, it was an audio stream only. You guys have 3 laptops here. We had one that we shared. You have a full sound mixer board with 16 different sliders.
2-2, pitter-pattered out to second base. Tucker eats it up, fires high to first, and he got him. That does it for the top of the 4th inning, but we're gonna keep it here.
Sure, yeah, you guys whatever you want. No, so it was very, bare bones. You guys have score graphics here. People can watch the games. No, we had like a little dial-up phone pad basically that we called into a service on a phone number, and they broadcast it on an audio-only web stream. But back then we were the first broadcast in Miners history, so for the family and the friends of all these players back home, it was revolutionary. They got to finally keep up with what their guys were doing up here. Now I can't imagine how much better it is to actually be able to see them and not just rely on us. I remember, you guys will appreciate this, our first week of games, we never set up a crowd mic. It was just us. Rookie mistake, right? But it was our first time we had ever set up a broadcast. So you were just hearing us in this broadcast booth, this closet basically, and even with the window open, you're just not hearing the crack of the bat as well, or the ball hitting the mitt. And we were getting feedback from people like, guys, what's going on here? I would send back clips to my professors at school and stuff, and so even things like that, we were just figuring it out, seat of our pants. Every mistake, was made every day, but with the opportunity to figure it out and get better. And by the end, we kind of figured things out. But yeah, it was an adventure, man. It was very much the wild, wild west for us. The one thing we did have was a box of Swedish fish. I remember that. We kept that between Jamie and me. And whenever one of us was on color commentary, we'd have some snacks. And the Swedish fish was like our bonding thing. So that's the one thing I don't see here that has changed as well. But I'm sure you guys are figuring out your habits and stuff.
Catcher number 24.
Well, Mike, so first of all, Steven Lancia coming up to bat for Matsu. He walked last time up. We do have a question for you, and we'll try to fit this in between pitches. And we have a trivia game that we play up here. First pitch to the righty, Lancia. Misses low and away. So it's called the Pickaxe Pickle. It's our trivia. And this one relates to your time with the Miners. So there are 4 members of the 05 Miners who made the major leagues.
Yep.
And none of them played for the Mets. Pitch to Lancia is blown away for a ball. None of them played for the Mets, but a bunch of them did make the majors. Matt McBride, B.J. Rosenberg, Mark Zepchinski, and Michael Taylor. So now you work with the Mets.
Yep.
Which one of these guys played the Mets most often in his career? The pitch to Lancia, low for another ball, 3-0.
So I'm gonna go, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style here, and eliminate some things. I think it's either Matt McBride because he was with the Rockies, or Zepchinski because he was a reliever in the NL for a lot of years. The Cardinals, I think, a lot of times.
3-0 to Lancia is a ball he walks.
Because of him being a pitcher, I'm going to guess Mark Zepchinski had the most appearances.
Man, you know your stuff.
Woo, look at that,
is correct. Mark Zepchinski, he played for the Miners in 2005.
Yep.
Your year with the team.
We shared a bunk bed in Kenai.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
The Bingo Hill?
Yeah, the Bingo Hill, baby. Still in business?
Yes, oh yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Well,
I love that.
He made 10 appearances against the Mets in his 10-year career. Of course, I think probably all of them might have predated your time with the Mets.
For sure, they all did, yeah.
And predated Austin and my time at Syracuse University, your alma mater. First pitch to Haley called a strike.
I think my time here in Palmer might have preceded your guys' lives, if not pretty close.
Jesse was
I'm
3, I was
2002.
2.
Okay.
When 05, the summer of 05 rolled around.
Making me feel ancient.
Now, it should make you feel young because we're still young.
Good.
The 0-1, Haley swings, flies into shallow center. Michael Kelly there and a hodgepodge of players, and actually Ryan Leonasia calls him off at second base behind the bag. So that makes the first out of this bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Chinooks. Jesse Cook, Austin Barach, with 2005 Miners broadcaster Mike Janela.
Mike, I got to ask you, you've done so much. You went on Jeopardy, and you're also now a media coach.
Yes,
At what point did you decide, hey, I have so much knowledge about so many things, I'm good enough to, I can coach people?
Well, that definitely wasn't the thought process, but you flatter me. Thank you.
Pitch to Carpenter, waits up high on a ball.
It was pandemic, so I work in sports and pop culture reporting and freelancing. In the pandemic, there were no sports, there was no pop culture. So there were a lot of months there where I was sitting on my couch with nothing to do. And I figured as we have a step off here, I figured let me try and help people out. Guys like you, I talked to a lot of guys and girls in college that just didn't know what kind of the next step was. And I figured that out a lot of by trial and error when I was at that stage of my career.
Carpenter swings at the 1-0, pops it up behind third base. Matheson in pursuit down the line, and he makes the grab over his shoulder. 2 away after the spectacular grab. Runner still on first, 1-0 Chinooks.
That's tough against this cloud cover. That's well done there. So I just figured, hey, it's a way to keep myself busy and also to make myself feel worthwhile and kind of pay it forward. And I always wanted to get into some kind of professoring or coaching and stuff like that. And I just figured that was the time that I had all the free time in the world to build a website, to amass kind of what I had done, put things together in an ebook, and just pay it forward. Luckily now we're back to work the last couple of years and things are good. But yeah, always looking to help out with the future generation. Pitch low and away, counts 1-0. And yeah, MikeJanela.com, shameless plug. If anybody out there wants to pick my brain ever and learn a thing or two, hopefully, I'm just happy to help the next generation skip over some of those speed bumps that I had to go through.
1-0 to Braden Rogers. He swings, pops it up behind second base, shallow right field. Broom races in on it, dives, it gets away from him. It's down the line. Lancia moves into third. Rogers is aboard. That's for sure a hit. A tough play for Broom, who had already robbed 2 minors hits in this game. And with 2 away, there's 2 men in scoring position for Matsu. And that brings up Emilio Barreras. Now, I had to look through a lot of your stuff. Granted, before the season, when we read your name on the list of broadcasters, we had seen it before. There's you talking about Jacob deGrom last year, which must feel weird this year as a Mets fan. But
yeah,
you're so multifaceted. How did you get in that mindset to do so many different things?
You kind of have to in this business, because if you're not getting your play-by-play gig, what else are you going to do? Or if you do have one, you're calling baseball in the summer, what are you going to do in the winter? And one thing that I think is a strength of mine as a broadcaster is getting all these different interests that I love into my reporting. I love Star Wars. I love reality TV. So all these different things that present themselves as opportunities career-wise when maybe you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
First pitch to Barreras, called a strike, blown away.
Baseball is my first love. It always has been, thanks to my dad. And it's the thing I love doing the most. But unless you get to a certain level in this industry, baseball is not going to be the be-all, end-all. So you do it a bit out of necessity, but in the end, it's all fun. It's all stuff I'm doing that I love to do.
Barreras takes a big cut, flies into right center field. Easy work for Michael Kelly, and he makes the grab. So the Miners strand 2 in scoring position, go down without scoring.
But that's really it, and I think that's my biggest advice to you guys, is that there's going to be ups and downs through all of this. It's the same thing for the players. You're going to have some bad seasons, some weird stops, but if you're doing what you love, that's the progress in itself. So that's my any kind of nugget for you guys. There it is. Enjoy what you're doing, because the actual work should be what it is that is most enjoyable to you.
Well, we certainly love it up here in Matsu, and it almost doesn't feel like work because we get to come here and watch baseball every day.
Don't never forget that. It's corny and it's a little bit cheesy, but if you love what you do, you're not really working, and it doesn't get much better than this. Enjoy this time of your life, for sure.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us up here in the broadcast booth. I hope it brought back some good memories for you.
It did. It's a little bit weird, but yeah, it's great. And just to be back in this box, it's been incredible. So many memories, and hopefully you guys are feeling it too. And just thank you for carrying on the torch and keeping this going for all the great people watching and listening across the country, and I guess now around the world too.
Yeah.
Well, that's a Miners and New York Mets legend in Mike Janela here on the Matsu Miners Baseball Network. 1-0 Chinooks. We move on to the fifth.